Okay, Casper, Friday midday, market reporters, the question for this week, the service sector, how important is it? And can you talk us through what it really is and how does it relate to other sectors in the world and in the country?
I think it's more important than most people think.
Okay.
I will talk about it later.
First, what happened?
Yeah, last week I closed down and I said, okay, we we did it on a Thursday.
Yes.
And then we said, okay, what do you think will be the opening price of the S&P 500 for next week?
Well, the problem is he's not open yet.
No, because we are early today.
Exactly.
Yeah. So can you say? So we had a lot of comments, and not in the comments directly, but a lot to us privately.
Yeah.
Can you have what
the pre-market opening at this moment says 4,192.
So almost exactly the same as last week.
Exactly the same. So if I look here quickly on the screen.
So not a lot of is happening, and you see the volatility is going.
Literally nothing.
Dropping.
We were last week 4,199.
Yeah.
So it's nothing.
Nothing. So boring week.
Boring week.
Not a completely boring week, but we will talk about it later. But be aware because low volatility, and so be focused and don't.
It can turn around in the blink of an eye.
Yeah. What happened?
I talked about Ford a couple of weeks now already. It's not like I'm a Ford freak or something like that, but Ford sold.
You are,
I was. So I were is not proper English.
Not anymore.
No.
Huh?
Ford sold 162,000 cars in the first quarter. That is more than expected. However, the sales to private retail clients was less. That went down with 11%. They mainly sold more like commercial vehicles and also the SUVs. And also important to note, I think that's with all the car companies, that electrical vehicle sales went up 184%. So because of course people are buying those now more. So if you go from 10 cars and then all of a sudden it's 30, you have 200% more sales. So that's obvious. Furthermore, Bitcoin stable for this week at least, $36,000 this morning. Musk had some sort of cryptic tweet again that affected the price. And I want to make one thing clear. I had a client that responded to me last week, and he might have a point, that he found that I was very negative about the crypto market. I want to say that I'm neutral to the crypto market. It's also not affecting myself or any of our business. You know, it's not we are. It's something just that we can't give a value to, and it's not that we are negative about it. You can buy cryptocurrencies indirectly through our platforms that we are offering as well. So in that sense, it's not that I'm negative about it. It's just that
you're neutral.
Neutral, and it's different, I think, than trading in stocks. Your turn. What happened?
Yeah, it's all the time, of course, about inflation.
Mm-hmm.
And one important part of inflation are the commodities.
Yes.
And I had a look, and maybe you can do it for yourself. And look at the commodity prices of last month,
mm-hmm.
because this discussion, I think, is since this last month is really active.
Exactly.
And then what you see is that since last month that most of the commodity prices went down. Some went up, of course. The most important, the most famous one, oil. It's reaching the highest levels since 2070, around 70 since 2018, and that's also after the meeting of the OPEC Plus of this week. They were quite positive about the outlook.
Exactly.
So everybody in his head has oil's going up, but if you look at other commodities, corn and copper also went up last month, but most of the other important commodities, they were down. Maybe from 10% on average, I don't know exactly. But that says something for people that are really focused on inflation. So that I want to say. Then I saw an article about the unemployment rate in the Eurozone.
Mm-hmm.
They said, it went down in May. Yeah, it went down from 8.1% to 8%.
Yes,
and so if you round it up, maybe it's nothing. So
no, and like I said also this morning to you when I read in the Spanish newspaper that 30% of the people that were in the temporary unemployment in Spain due to the pandemic, they will be converted into long-term unemployed people.
That's a lot.
So that is a lot, yeah. So that is not a good sign. That is not a good sign.
No. So everything is picking up, but if the unemployment rate stays the same, it's a strange message. So be alert for that. And then of course there was one stock I think was the hot stock of the week, and that was also the most traded US stock through our platforms. That is AMC.
Yeah, AMC. Yeah.
What do you think about it?
Well, like I said to you before, it's not something that I personally have, and one of the reasons why you buy stock is affinity. No, I don't have affinity with it, and I didn't touch it.
No.
I mean, there's a lot of these hype stocks, and I have affinity with other stocks that are moving in the same patterns, and it's something that you need to be careful with. But because what happened to AMC? How much did it went up?
Yeah, it went up this year with 3,000%.
3,000%.
Yeah, and this week you saw movements. It was extremely volatile. So
that's more than Bitcoin.
Yeah, but you're also neutral on AMC, no?
I am neutral. Yeah.
But what you see,
I'm
this
actually negative about
it's a funny stock because there's a lot of things are going around. It's not only the price, or a lot of traders are jumping on stock, but it's also due to the short sellers.
Absolutely.
Almost all the possible shares that are available for short selling are already do have a short position. So a lot of long traders are hoping that the price go up, and then the short sellers should need to buy back the shares, and it will go up more and more. But also AMC itself is doing some interesting things. So they want to have more closer contact in direct with their clients. So they are developed a program where you get a discount for example on your popcorn if you are a shareholder of AMC. Thursday pre-market, the price also went up in the pre-market. But then they announced just before opening that they did a claim emission of I think 230. No, sorry. I don't know exactly.
230 million.
No, that's something. That's over the weekend, last weekend.
Oh,
that was sold an amount of stocks to hedge funds. I don't know exactly how big the claim emission was that was announced. So, but that means more stocks. So everything is it's widely spread. So that's why it didn't go up yesterday, but it closed 20% lower. So it's a roller coaster. So if you want to have a position in it, long or short, do your homework and know exactly what's happening with the stocks. So a lot of movement,
especially with these stocks. Very important to look at the short registers. There is, and the amount of days to cover the shores, etc., etc. So it's pretty complex.
That was in what's happened, but I think it was also what's hot.
Yeah,
so we are now in the what's hot sector.
What's hot section of the program. Okay, well, Prosus. If you click here, you will go back to the market reports I think about a month ago when I was sitting on my own. I talked about Prosus. It's a South African company. If you want to know more, I explained very well there what happened. They were back in the news. They bought Stack Overflow, which is a 1.8 billion worth deal, and it's a platform for sharing of knowledge between programmers and developers of software. And Stack Overflow actually is one of the most important and most popular websites in the world. So interesting thing. Then I was.
Prosus is more like a fund, eh? You can
it's like an investment vehicle sort of thing. Yeah. So exactly. Dogecoin. I'm not going to talk about it, but I found a very interesting, funny article on Motley Fool about the comparison. Dogecoin is of course not that environmentally friendly. It started off as a joke, had a tremendous run up this year. One of the biggest winners in 2021. It's the coin with the little dog on it. They call the Shiba dog, and there was an article about pet food, because I think we mentioned it also last year once in one of the market reports, that a lot of people, they bought a dog because when you had a dog you could go out and have a walk when it was in the pandemic. So if
there were also a lot of people were sitting home alone.
Home alone, yeah, exactly. And of course I hope they still keep those dogs, because the pandemic is now over. You need to keep taking care of your dog. But there's 3 companies that I want to highlight here. I'm not saying that you have to buy them, but just it's Chewy, and they are very successful for their catering of catering the animal owners with specific pet food. Their price went up 50% last year.
Superfood for pets.
Sort of. However, the stock went down this year 35%. So there is something that you need to investigate. They're fresh pet. That is high quality dog food. They were initially only selling through specialized stores, and they are now starting to sell it also through supermarkets. So
Okay.
they had a profit increase of 28%, and then the last one is when you are when you have the idea to secure the health care of your pet. So if you think, okay, my dog has a problem and I want to be covered for those problems, we have to take him to the vet. Trupanion is a company that sells insurances for that, and if you take one of those insurances, 90% of the costs will be covered by the insurance. However, the market is not that convinced about their concept because the price of the stock went down 30%.
There must be then expensive insurances.
Well, the turnover went up, the revenue went up at 28%.
Oh, really?
So yeah,
Interesting.
yeah, it's something different, a little bit lighter, but
In a question you asked me about the service sector,
Mhm.
and it was hot because it was in the news a lot, and it's a figure that of course occurs a lot, but a lot of people, they see it and they go to the next page or to the next article. But I want to highlight something there because again, there were a lot of countries that came up with their
Okay,
official
exactly, yeah,
figures over the service sector, and I want to highlight how important that sector is. If you look at the premier sector, that's the agriculture, and then the second
yeah.
one is the industry, and the third one is the service sector. And if you look at on a GDP level in the Eurozone,
Mhm.
then the service sector is good for almost 75%.
yeah, that's fantastic.
Agriculture, for example, is only 1.5%.
And that's surprising. Eh?
It's so low. I knew that it was low, but I didn't know that it was that low.
That means that we're not producing a lot of food here.
No. So when the service sector figures come out, it's a really important figure because that's for 75%, three or four is that important for our economy.
Exactly.
Okay. Japan. And I want to say something. That figure, that is a amount, and if that figure is above the 50, then there is a growth. If it's below, then that industry, that in this case service industry, but you have it also for other industry, it's shrinking.
It's shrinking.
So 50
Is positive.
is the
It's
zero
the
level.
benchmark for growth.
Yeah, exactly. Japan, they announced over May 46.5, so they went down.
It went down.
And the month before, they were 49.5. It's also a little bit below low, but also, so you also have to look at two things. The figure itself, is it below or above the 50? That means growth or when it's going down, but also look at the previous month. But then you see a little bit of trend there. So that was not good. It was already low and lower. If you look at China, it was 55, so it's growth, but a little bit lower than the 56 of April. And especially in this time, because what you said, after the pandemic, the service sector needs to pick up.
It needs to be up, yeah.
That needs to pick up because a lot of people are using more services, and it is an important sector. As I said before, Spain, they reported 59.4 growth, and that's more than April. It was 54, so that's good. Germany, the same figures, a little bit lower, 52.8.
Okay.
But the month before it was just below the 50, so that's also good. So Spain and Germany are growing. And the US, they had 70.4, and the month before it was 64.7. So you see, in the Western world, I highlighted some, it's going well.
Well, yeah. And
Also-
in Asia it's going.
So I think this is something that people now, maybe, of course you already knew, but maybe you now know a little bit better. High over, is this an important figure? And now you also, next time you don't go to the next page directly, but you will have a view on it, and you
Absolutely.
can incorporate it in your vision about the economy and the stock markets.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
So that's what I want to say about the service sector.
What's next?
What's next?
Well, we're in front of the summer, so a lot of people are starting to book holidays again, and we see that actually also in the forecasts and the prognosis from the European airline sector. Of course, they had a really bad year and a half, I think. No, we can say a lot of government support, etc. But partially due to the speed of the vaccinations, and also the fact that they will be launching a European COVID passport on the 7th of June, which is actually already on Monday. The airline sector in Europe thinks that, and there's an important thing here, they were making 4.5 billion of profit on an annual basis, and they expect in 2023 to be above the 6 billion. So they're actually going to make more money than they were making before the pandemic. So I think that is an important thing to keep an eye on. Of course, the airline companies have already gone up quite a lot, but just follow it. I think it's a service sector, no? Yeah. So.
Okay, that's it. Thank you for watching again. Please give your thumb.
If you like it.
If you like it, and if you don't like it, also do it. And I hope to see you next week. Thank you again.
Thank you.